got you long gone, it don't matter.
Hello, 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 all my gorgeous, beautiful, amazing human beings out there. What's up, people? My name is Lance. If you have never been here to my channel before, I want to welcome you guys and thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and your life to be here and taking an interest to click on this video and hear about anything that I have to say. And if you guys wouldn't mind, I would greatly appreciate it if you would just take 1 second out of your time and scroll right down right there and click that little subscribe button down there. Click the notification bell right there and join our little family over here. I mean, it's not much, we're not huge, but it's relaxed, chilled, laid back. We talk, help each other out, inspire each other, share our stories, and that's what it's all about. I would truly love it from the bottom of my heart to have all of you join into this little vibe we got going on. And to all my regulars, my returning subscribers, my day ones, my loves, all I can say is we're back with another one, guys. I love you, and let's go. As you guys can tell by the title of this video, I'm sure you've already read it and you see what this is going to be about. My next video is going to be a life update video. I have a bunch of really exciting news to tell you guys. If you guys have not been following me on social medias, you wouldn't know about a lot of it, but if you have been, then I'm sure you know a lot of it. And I have a ton of good stuff to finally tell you, a ton of positive things happening in my life for once. Just good news, a bunch of good news finally. So that video will be coming shortly after this one. Turn on your notifications and stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm so happy to finally be able to share some good news with you guys. I know a lot of my videos in the past have been really dark and I've been in a dark place in them videos. Times are definitely changing over here in my house for the better, and I'm very happy to share that with you guys on the next video. So anyways, getting into this video, as you can tell by the title, like I said, today I'm going to be talking about precipitated withdrawal, everything to do with it. I figured this would be a good topic to speak about because I've had numerous comments on this topic about precipitated withdrawal, how you get it, what happens when you get it, what to expect, how you can help yourself when you do get it, misconceptions about it, myths about it, and I'm also going to cover Suboxone and Subutex, when to take them, how long to wait until it is safe to take either or Suboxone or Subutex, depending on what opiates you are using currently. So if you guys are interested in hearing about any of this, please stay tuned. Okay, so I think a safe place to start would probably be with what is precipitated withdrawal, right? So precipitated withdrawal is a form of instant withdrawal symptoms where you take a certain medication. In this case, it's going to be buprenorphine and or naloxone. So, you know, Suboxone, Subutex, and or naloxone. A lot of people get confused about what medications are what and what do what, and I'm going to get into that further in a little while. But basically, when you take these medications and you are already on another opiate, aka morphine, heroin, Percocet, fentanyl, any other opiate that you can think of, when you're currently on that opiate and you take one of these other drugs are designed to knock all the other opiates off your opioid receptors. Now, from my own personal experiences, I can tell you guys without a doubt for 100% fact that precipitated withdrawal is probably the worst case of withdrawals that you could ever possibly imagine, and that's what I've also heard from everybody else who's ever been through it. If you have not been through it, God bless you. Don't ever put yourself through it. I'm going to share some tips in this video about how you can prevent yourself from happening and doing it, and also I'm going to briefly share with you guys my experiences. I think I've been in precipitated withdrawal a total of about 5 or 6 times. I'm going to briefly go over those times and what happened when it did happen to me, but I can assure you it's 100 million times worse than any other opiate withdrawal you've ever experienced. And every time it happened to me, I ended up in the hospital. It was that bad. So let's talk a little bit about how it works in the brain so that you guys can understand. So I'm going to quickly give you guys a quick easy analogy, which I think will be the most simple, easiest way for everybody to understand it. And this is the way a doctor explained it to me at one point, and it was more easy for me to understand. So we all have opiate receptors in our brain, right? Anytime you ingest an opiate, heroin, fentanyl, morphine, Percocet, whatever the case may be, whatever it is, all these opiates travel through the bloodstream and they end up attaching to the opiate receptors in your brain. So I want you guys to think of the opiate receptors like a keyhole, and the opiates that you put in your body like the key. So the key going into the lock, the key going into the keyhole, okay? All these different opiates are basically different shaped keys, different sizes. You can think of it that way. They all fit into the keyhole, into the lock, but they're all different shapes and sizes, right? Some fit a little bit better, some fit perfectly, la da da. So you have different kinds of opiates, right? Some of them are partial antagonist opiates, some are full antagonist opiates, you know, synthetic opiates. They're all different kinds, all different key shapes, right? Some of them fit better than others. Think about it like heroin, morphine, fentanyl, all these are, you know, keys that fit into the keyhole, but they don't fit that great, you know, they just fit in a little bit. Then you take one of these other ones that put you into precipitated withdrawal, like the Subutex, Suboxone, naloxone, whatever, and they're like keys that are a perfect match, a perfect fit into the lock. So you've taken these other you've put these other keys in there that fit okay, but not all the way. Then all of a sudden you take a Suboxone, a perfect fitting key, and it goes into the keyhole, fits to perfect fit, and it shoves every other thing out, every other key out of there, and knocks them all off. That's basically how you get precipitated withdrawal, you guys. So Suboxone, Subutex, and naloxone, even though naloxone is not technically, it's not an opiate, but it was designed to do the same thing. It's, you know, Narcan. It's designed to knock all the other opiates off the receptors to help people in an overdose. So it basically does the same thing as buprenorphine. Basically, they are a perfect fitting key. These opiates were designed so perfectly that they're almost a perfect match for our natural opiates in the body and our opiate receptors. And it's like the perfect fitting puzzle piece. Basically, that's how you could think about it. So when you take a Suboxone or Subutex and you've already ingested other opiates that are attached to your receptors, you're going to go into immediate, horrible withdrawal. And I personally believe that doctors and even nurses and all the people that work in these detoxes and actually do these opiate detoxes do not personally know enough about precipitated withdrawal yet and how dangerous it actually is. I believe they don't have enough experience with it, because as well as for them as it is for us, precipitated withdrawal is kind of a new thing. Not new, but it's fairly new to us. Like I remember 10, 12 years ago, back in the day when we used to take Suboxone, we never even heard about precipitated withdrawal. We never heard about anybody going into it. We would, you know, people that I knew that would use heroin and stuff would wake up the very next day, 12 hours from doing their last bag of heroin, and take a Suboxone and be completely fine. But when the fentanyl entered the heroin, it changed the game, and now all bets are off, you know. And there are ways that you can prevent yourself from going into precipitated withdrawal, and I'm going to get into those now and give you guys a couple tips. It's basically a waiting game. I hate to say that, but that is the honest truth. The only way to 100% without a doubt avoid going into precipitated withdrawal is to not take Subutex, Suboxone, or naloxone at all. That's the only way you can 100% guarantee. Other than that, it's a waiting game, and every opiate is a little bit different, but it's all the same general idea. I'm going to go over some of the opiates that you could possibly be on in the time frame that you should wait. Now, don't quote me on this. Everybody's different. Everybody has different experiences. I can promise you that. My experiences have been very different from other people that I know. I'm just going to give you guys a basic outline. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. The amount of time that you should wait from each opiate that it is safe to take a Suboxone or a Subutex really varies from person to person. It's also going to vary on how long you've been using and how much you're using and how frequently. But the basic time frames go like this. For like Percocet and Vicodin and maybe codeine, you should definitely wait no less than, I would say, 16 to 18 hours. Try to make it 24 to 36 if you could from the last time you did one of them pills until you take a Suboxone, a Subutex, whatever the case may be. Now for morphine and Oxycontin and stronger pills, I'm going to take it up from 36 to 48 hours from the last time you took a pill. You should wait no less than that. Now when we're talking about heroin and definitely fentanyl, some people I know can be okay in 36 hours from their last use, but I would definitely try to push that. I would do it no sooner than 48 hours. If you believe me when I tell you, you're going to want to wait at least 48 hours from the last time you used fentanyl or heroin. Minimum. Now when we talk about methadone, something long lasting like that, it's very dangerous. It depends again on how much you've been taking and how frequently, but if you're on like a methadone clinic or any significant dose, you can wait up to 4 to 5 days and even up to 2 weeks, some doctors recommend, before you can take Suboxone, Subutex, or naloxone whatsoever, or you will fall into precipitated withdrawal in the worst way possible. Now again, this varies for everybody. You can share your experiences down below and what's happened with you guys. That will help a lot of people. I'm going to share a few of my experiences with you guys right now. I myself have been into precipitated withdrawal about 5 or 6 times, I don't know exactly. And I also went one time from a methadone clinic to a Suboxone clinic, which was a whole process in itself. It's a long, drawn out, and horrible process. It takes a while. I have a video down on my channel. If you want to check that out, I'll link that down below. The other times I went into precipitated withdrawal was I was using heroin on the street, lots of it. My habit was sometimes between 2 to 4 bundles of heroin a day, and all that heroin was laced with fentanyl for the most part. First time I went into precipitated withdrawal, I had used heroin, and then I waited 36 hours from the last time I used, took 2 milligrams of Suboxone, and went into a horrible precipitated withdrawal to the point where I felt like I was literally gonna die and I had to call an ambulance and go to the hospital. The second time, same deal, but I waited 48 hours. That time I took, I think, a half of an 8 milligram Suboxone and went into precipitated withdrawal horribly. Again, that time I didn't call an ambulance, but I wanted to. I wrote it out that time and it was absolutely horrible. The third time that I went into precipitated withdrawal, I was in a detox. And I thought that I was going to be okay because I was around nurses and doctors and people who professionally deal with this kind of thing, but they didn't do shit for me and they didn't seem to know shit about what I was going through. That time I left detox and called an ambulance and went to the hospital as well. That time it had been 36 hours and my habit wasn't too bad at the time, and the next morning they gave me a 2 milligram Subutex, not Suboxone, and it put me into the worst precipitated withdrawal of every time that I had ever been into it. The Subutex put me in a worse withdrawal than any of the other times. Now the last time I went into precipitated withdrawal, I was at home. I had done the last bit of heroin, fentanyl that I had, and I waited an agonizing 4 days at home on my bed in withdrawal, kicking, tossing and turning, just about dying, feeling like I was gonna die. I waited 4 complete days, took a half of an 8 milligram Suboxone and went into precipitated withdrawal again after 4 days with nothing, you guys. This is why I stress to you guys, everybody's different. You really have to assess how much you're using. The more that you're using, the worse that your habit is, and the more that you're ingesting, whatever the case may be, if it's a prescription pill, methadone, heroin, the more you're doing, the longer you have to wait. And the times that you read online are not correct, and the times that the doctors are going to tell you are not correct. Do not listen to these doctors. At the end of the day, they've never been through it themselves. They just know what they learn and what they study. So let's talk quickly about how precipitated withdrawal feels and how you know if you've gone into precipitated withdrawal. Well, trust me when I tell you, you'll know. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You will fucking know. It is brutal. It is full-blown withdrawal. So every withdrawal symptom you could think about that hits you all at once, all within a 5 to 10 minute period. So let's say you've been at home and you haven't used any opiates of any sort within 18 to 24 hours, maybe even 36 hours, and you've been really sick, you're in withdrawal, and you think, oh my god, I don't have any money, I feel like shit, I want to go, oh, I have a Suboxone laying around. You go and take that Suboxone, and within 10 to 15 minutes after taking it, you don't start to feel any better. You start to feel the same or worse. 9 out of 10 times you're going to feel a million times worse. So when I tell you guys normal opiate withdrawal, gradual opiate withdrawal doesn't come even fucking remotely close to precipitated withdrawal, I'm not kidding you guys. Like, because we get all the opiate withdrawal symptoms, right? Everybody knows them. Runny eyes, runny nose, diarrhea, stomach cramping, the restless body, the restless legs, the anxiety, the panic, the sweating, the cold sweats, the whole 9, right? But those happen gradually over a 12, 18, 24-hour period, usually, as it's coming out of your body. With precipitated withdrawal, all those happen within 5 to 10 minutes, and it all hits you at the same time. And it actually feels dangerous. Like, I think that they're going to find out that it can actually be deadly and or dangerous for people, because you literally feel like you're going to die. And some people have gone into cardiac arrest from precipitated withdrawal, had heart attacks and everything. It's absolutely horrible. You will know if you went into it. And trust me, you don't want to. So I don't know if I'm going to share this with you guys, but I'm going to, because I love you guys and I have respect for you guys, and I know this really might happen to some of you, so I'm going to give you my experience and the God's honest truth about what helped me. Now, if you go into precipitated withdrawal really bad and you feel like you're going to die and you just can't take it, and trust me, you probably will not literally be able to take it, and you call an ambulance and go to the hospital, What the doctors are being trained to do now is to keep feeding you Suboxone and keep flushing out all the opiates. But what happens when they do that, because they did it to me, you keep getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and they try to give you like a benzo to calm down the anxiety, so they give you Ativan or something like that, and eventually the idea is that they give you enough Suboxone that they flood it all out and that you start to feel better, but you don't. I promise you right now. I'm telling you, the only bulletproof way to take yourself out of precipitated withdrawal and to help that fucking withdrawal go away, and I don't know if I should be saying this, but I'm gonna tell you guys the truth, is not to keep taking more Suboxone. I promise you, I've tried it, I've done it, the doctors have done it. It is absolute fucking hell and torture. The only thing that has ever taken that shit away from me is for me to go back out and do more heroin. And I know I should not say that, and I don't recommend anybody to do any fucking drugs, but if you're in this situation, the only way to stop it and to get rid of it is to go out and find more of whatever opiate is that you do. So you better find some money and you better go get it quick and get it in your fucking body. If not, you're gonna feel like you're dying. I promise you, dying. It is the worst pain, the worst discomfort, and the worst fucking desperation feeling I've ever had in my life. Alright guys, so now that I've covered the majority of precipitated withdrawal and everything to do with it, I want to go over a couple misconceptions or myths that I've heard from people and even doctors that I want to tell you guys. The first one is that, and I've heard this from people on the street and from doctors, that people believe for some reason that if you are in withdrawal already, like if you're really in withdrawal, like if you have the full withdrawal symptoms, if you score 10 out of 10 on the withdrawal scale from opiate withdrawal, that you're safe to take Subutex Suboxone. You're not. That's not true. You know, like coming off of heroin, you can be in full-blown withdrawal within 12 to 18 hours. You're very, very sick after 18 hours, you know? You would think that you'd feel ready because you're in full-blown withdrawal. 18 hours is nowhere near enough time, but the doctors would tell you, as long as you're in full-blown withdrawal, you're okay to take it. You're not. The second myth I want to tell you guys about, or misconception, and this is one that I've gotten a lot of comments about on my Methadone to Suboxone detox video. A lot of people have said this to me, and this is not true, so I have to let it be known. A lot of people get really confused about Subutex and Suboxone and the difference between the two, and they think that they're different when it comes to going to precipitated withdrawal. I'm here to let you guys know right now that you have it messed up in your head. Subutex will put you into precipitated withdrawal just as bad as Suboxone will, if not worse. It is not just the naloxone, because here's the thing. Suboxone is two drugs, naloxone and buprenorphine. They both put you into precipitated withdrawal. Subutex is just buprenorphine without the naloxone. A lot of people seem to believe, and I can't even fault people for this because I was confused in the beginning too, that because Subutex does not have naloxone in it, that you can be on other opiates and then take Subutex and you won't go into precipitated withdrawal like Suboxone does. That is not true, you guys. Buprenorphine, which is exactly what Subutex is, will put you into precipitated withdrawal. The only difference between Subutex and Suboxone is that Subutex does not have naloxone in it, which is an opiate blocker. So if you're on Subutex, you can do other opiates. So say if you were on Subutex, you could take the Subutex and then you could take heroin or take Percocet and you could get high. You can still get high on it because it doesn't block out the opiate. It has no naloxone. But you cannot do it the reverse way around. You cannot take heroin or Percocet, then take Subutex. It's a misconception, and I want to let people know that. Take it from me, believe me when I tell you guys, if you are on any kind of other opiates, anything at all, and you go ahead and think that you can take Subutex and you're going to be okay, you're going to truly, truly regret that decision, I promise you. Like I shared with you guys already in this video, out of all the times I went into precipitated withdrawal, for some reason, the time that I took the Subutex at the detox, and at that point my habit wasn't even that bad, as it was a lot of the other times, was the worst and most intense and horrible precipitated withdrawal that I went into, and that was Subutex. So that's the misconception I wanted to get out there. Alright everyone, that brings us to the end of this video. I truly hope that you guys found this video informative, you learned something, and that this can help some people out. I know that if this information had been out there for me, that this would have been really, really helpful. Unfortunately, I had to learn everything that I know by making the mistakes on my own and going through the hell, and now I have all this wisdom and information, and I want to share it to help people. So I hope you guys found this informative, and I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Like I said, update video coming soon. I have so much good shit to tell you guys, and I love you all. Be safe, stay beautiful, stay kind, and I'll catch you guys later. Much love.